The current administration in Lagos State is working hard to tackle the spread of coronavirus pandemic. To further boost the fight, Governor Babajide Sanw-Olu approved the sum of 200 million naira to support ongoing patients management and treatment efforts in treatment centers in the state. Welcome to the Governor This Week. I am Lekan Onabanjo. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanw-Olu has released the sum of 200 million naira to support the coronavirus response of the federal government-run isolation centers that are based in the state. The grant is specifically to ramp up the capacity of the federal isolation centers in Lagos to efficiently manage and cure infections from all identified COVID-19 variants. This development was disclosed in the governor's update on the state's COVID-19 response, which was released during the week. The beneficiary treatment centers are the Lagos University Teaching Hospital in Idiaraba and Federal Medical Center in Ibutemeta. Despite that, oxygen demand had spiked up from 300 cylinders to 400 cylinders per day across state-owned treatment facilities. Sanw-Olu said the state government would not charge patients who receive oxygen. The governor said Lagos was working hard to ensure oxygen supply meets and surpasses the demand, disclosing that the state was on the verge of delivering its second oxygen plant at the Bagada General Hospital. The new plants will be ready in the next 7 days. Governor Sanw-Olu said when the COVID-19 vaccines are finally delivered to Lagos in the coming days, distribution priorities will be accorded to frontline workers, persons with comorbidities, essential workers and the elderly who are within the age bracket of 50 to over 65 years. The state government frowned at what it called the widespread disregard and non-adherence to COVID-19 guidelines to stem the tide of infection. Governor Sanw-Olu particularly noted that some event centers owners had been operating their facilities outside the acceptable parameters for usage, warning that defaulters will be decisively dealt with. In line with the COVID-19 health protection regulations of 2021, signed by President Muhammadu Buhari, Governor Sanw-Olu directed that no gathering of more than 50 persons should hold in an enclosed space, except for religious purposes, in which case the gathering should not exceed 50% of its capacity. Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanw-Olu, has sworn in newly appointed 18 permanent secretaries as part of efforts to upskill the state's public service. The governor, at the swearing-in ceremony, expressed confidence in the new permanent secretaries, saying they will justify their appointment by collaborating with the present administration to deliver outstanding service.
Discharge of my official duties, or as may be officially permitted by the governor. So help me.
Let me acknowledge and thank today the members of the State Revenue Committee. You've seen that it's a statutory committee and it's been taken from a wide array of distinguished citizens, from our representative at Ramfac, Dr. Wright, to the Lagos State Sector Commander of the Road Safety Corps, to directors from LIRS, to the chair of the body of chairmen, and of course, led by the chairman of our own LIRS. I want to charge all of you. I want to say to you that the assurance that you have given to us today is a demonstration of our belief that our revenues will be in good hands and that all of the bottlenecks that hitherto that we have, you will help us resolving. And our revenue streams at various levels, at state and local government, will become seamless, and you bring about policies and ideas that would ensure that we can indeed continue to remain relevant as the #1 outstanding IGR state in this nation. So I want to congratulate you, I want to commend you, and I want to thank you for agreeing to serve our state at this point in time. Mr. Chairman and your members, thank you very much for coming in here. On the same note, I want to congratulate the 18 newly sworn-in permanent secretaries. 10 female, very typical of us in Lagos State, and 8 men. It's only in Lagos State you see body of judges is always female more. Now permanent secretary, typically you always have female more. And in EXCO we kept the minimum 35%, so it's also female in attendance. It's not because we don't think that the men can do it, we just believe that the women sometimes are a lot more committed. Thank you very much. I want to commend you for the contribution you have made to the progress of Lagos State, especially the delivery of an excellent public service. Your roles here today as permanent secretary is crucial to the success of this administration. You are all diverse in the administration's team's agenda, of which the ministry, the department, and agencies which you have been appointed to is purely a merit-based exercise. I'm sure you all know that this exercise started with over 400 of you who freely applied and said that I would want to be a permanent secretary. Because indeed, the service only guarantees you up to level 17. That's where the public service guarantees you to. But for us, we said that we want the best of the best. At 17, you have actually done very well. But we said, amongst that whole lot, let us recreate a public service that can set the tone for the next decade. And you're all part of that exercise that started with over 400 of you and had a whole lot of exercise, test-based interactions, interviews, even picking amongst yourself. I'm sure it was a very, very robust exercise that you all went through. But the peak of it was the fact that I also didn't want to just stay at the periphery. I said the top 65 or 70 of you, I also want to get to meet with each and every one of you and have a feel of what you are made of. And I'm sure on those 2-3 days that we had that exercise, each one of you sitting down here knew that it was indeed a very transparent process, because each one of you came out, spoke your mind, said to us what you wanted to do, and indeed we're taking note. And for the first time, let me say publicly, that we're appointing permanent secretary. I have not received one single negative call. Indeed, it's all been positive calls and thanking that process that in which you have all emerged. So what it tells me is that we can do it in this country. We can indeed continue to reflect merit at all times. We can indeed continue to stand for merit and for identifying the best amongst us. And I'm sure that what we've demonstrated here today is a step that indeed we're serious in this administration. Of course, with our government's commitment to excellent service delivery, we have no choice but to painstakingly appoint only permanent secretary who shares our vision, our mission, and our drive. You know the role of permanent secretary is critical in the success of any administration. And so we did not want to take it to chance. It is for this reason that we decided to put in place a competitive screening exercise to which all of you have emerged as the permanent secretary today. The process has indeed been rigorous, and I want to commend once again the head of service, the special advisor on education, and all members of that screening exercise for a job well done. The appointment of permanent secretary is a task, and I do not take it lightly. And I also, in consonant of the fact the right synergy must exist between the executive and the permanent secretary for us to successfully deliver our mandate to the people that we have sworn to serve. In order to underscore the importance that are attached to the process and ensure that only the best are appointed, I, like I mentioned, also participated at ensuring that the last process, I witnessed it. It was really a tough task selecting a team amongst many, many competent, capable public servants, civil servants that we all saw on that day. But indeed, it's only a function of the availability, right? And I want to say to others that have not been successful that they could still have their own day ahead of them. They should not lose hope. We're not dropping or shredding that exercise. It will continue to be the driving force at ensuring that we select from the best of the best that we have in service. So please, they should not give up. They should not lose hope. They will get to their own turn sooner than later. So this swearing-in ceremony formally marks the end of that process. And I want to congratulate you once again for being considered worthy of this enviable appointment in Nigeria's leading public service, Lagos State. I have no doubt that you will justify your appointment by collaborating with this administration to deliver outstanding service to all Lagosians. The people of Lagos deserve the best, and I demand the best from you. You must always remember that it is not a ceremonial role. To whom much is given, they say much is expected. As a permanent secretary and accounting officer of your MDA, you have the responsibility to optimally manage human and material resources in your care. Let me remind you that our social contract with Lagosians is embodied in our team's agenda, and the faultless implementation of this agenda should guide your action. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is our 618 days in office. We'll continue to count our 1,460 days. We know how important every day is for us. We have remained focused on the Greater Lagos vision despite the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have a long way to go. We are, however, encouraged by the progress we have made so far, especially in completion of critical projects, roads, and other that were initiated by administration even before us, but we said that we will ensure that we complete and recreate new ones. And the milestone project that we have completed and the ones that will be inaugurated in the course of this year, I'm confident that we will achieve our dream of a greater Lagos with our people as the ultimate beneficiaries. You will therefore agree with me that our MDAs must be headed by only those who share our vision for a greater Lagos and are ready to work hard to actualize this vision. I think Dr. Mustafa has also put it clearly that indeed you're all set, ready to go, and that you're all fired up to ensure that the journey that we have started 618 days ago, you will join us very quickly and will see the benefit of the appointment from today going forward. My confidence is in your ability to achieve a greater Lagos is to a large extent hinged on your capacity, your capability, your commitment, and dedication of every member of this government, including you, body of permanent secretary, especially this body of 18 that has just been sworn in today. You recall that during the one-on-one session that I had with you, I asked you about the new changes you will introduce to address specific issues and improve the quality of service delivery in every MDA. Now that you have scaled through and emerged as the newest member of the body of permanent secretary, it is time to put those ideas to work and in the same spirit, be prepared to tackle other challenges that would come your way. The path might be rough, the road might not be smooth, but indeed we know that we have made the right choices, and we're enthused with the fact that we know that you will not disappoint us. Because indeed, disappointing us is not a problem, but it's disappointing yourself. And we know that you certainly will not stand for that. It's on these notes that I want to congratulate you, congratulate your family members, and congratulate everything that you all stood for. I want to urge you that the confidence that this government has given to you, you will reciprocate with the commitment and with the assurance that you've given all of us today. It is therefore my great honor and privilege to announce your portfolio coming out from this place. Deployment, they've corrected me. You know, you have to get the civil service wordings right. It's your deployment. And what it means is that there's been a lot of jig around the entire public service with your inclusion today. You have actually shaken the root of the entire body of permanent secretaries. And I'm sure once the names are out, people will start making phone calls at what has happened. Dr. Mustafa Ibrahim Akiumi will be the permanent secretary, Primary Health Board. Mrs. Ayola Yabo Oyeyemi will be the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance. Mrs. George Abosede Oluwakemi will be the permanent secretary, Office of Sustainable Development and Mr. Mundogan Sowenu Temitope will be the permanent secretary, Audit Service Commission. Engineer Mrs. Ushegbe Abiola will be the permanent secretary, Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development. Dr. Onoyele Augustine Abiodun will be permanent secretary, Ministry of Establishment, Training and Pension. Ms. Princess Adedoyin Ajayi Adenike will be permanent secretary, Ministry of Tourism. Sobio Shonkowawa Olutomi Ajose, I guess, will be the permanent secretary, Sobio General. Mrs. Udugua Olushola will be permanent secretary, Central Internal Audit. Mr. Olajide Charles Adeboye will be permanent secretary, Tutor General, Education District 4. Mrs. Mashado Ononuga Toyin will be permanent secretary, Teaching Service Commission. Mr. Gaji Omobolaji Tajudeen will be permanent secretary, Ministry of Special Duties. Mr. Oluwasegun Kamal will be the permanent secretary, Ministry of Transportation. Ms. Simeon Olayinka Fashola will be permanent secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology. Mrs. Daba Mukolaji Mujisola will be permanent secretary, Local Government Service Commission. Mrs. Oshodi Salimot Tolani will be the permanent secretary in the Cabinet Office. Mr. Kasali Adeniran Wahid will be permanent secretary, Office of the Special Advisor on Education. And Ms. Shashore Shola Musrayo will be permanent secretary, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. The head of service will later today bring out a full circular of the entire deployment of a lot of permanent secretaries around the civil service. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for this event. I'm truly excited about it, and I'll be looking out for all my 18 new permanent secretaries. Thank you very much.
The role of newly sworn-in permanent secretaries by Governor Babajide Sanw-Olu is crucial to the success of his administration, and the governor has shown optimism that their appointments will bring about positive and visible transformation in the delivery of quality governance to residents of the state. And that's the size of our package on the governor this week. But then you can continue with conversations of the governor's activities on all these social media platforms showing on your screen. See you next week. I am Lekan Onabanjo.